What about you? I mean, I've read about your journey online, like from social media accounts, and from like working at Google from over a decade, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now co-building something with very exciting something in startup world, and it is really fascinating. And you left the company after more than 12 years. That's a huge leap. So, so I'm like curious, what was going through in your mind during that time? Because like it was a slow build, on, or was there a one movement that made you go, okay, I need to do this now? What was it exactly?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I was there for a long time because it was kind of my first job. I graduated from college in 2010, and I started at Google in 2011. And like for me, I'm originally from Colombia, and like it was like a big change from I've never been outside of my country before that, and then Google took me to Europe, and
Wow.
I kind of traveled around the world thanks to the company,
Wow.
and grew my career in both product and business there. So I think for these 12 years, I was just always growing and always like, I guess everything was exceeding my expectations. So I think that's I think why it was so long. I think now I don't think it was a sudden movement. I think as I travel the world and work with colleagues around different technologies like Android and Google Play, different products, sorry, Android and Google Play and ads, I learned a lot. That like back then, I graduated as an engineer, but I didn't know a product manager role was a thing. So that took me some time to there's these people called product managers and they do these things and maybe I'm good for those things, right? Like so a discovery process. So to just kind of wrap it up, like I end up in 2016 in the States because I started Google in Europe and in Latin America. And from 2016 on, I was working mostly in product business related stuff. And my last years at Google were specifically in Google Play, doing monetization, discovery, and distribution for the Google Play Store, like different projects about those things as a product manager. Um, and through those last 4 years is when I felt like, like I also seen people starting companies that work with me, right? So I said like, well, I'm not getting younger. So if I'm going to try this thing, um, it needs to be now. And it's not such a good moment if you look at the macro events in the world, but I have no other moment, right? So I started like looking into what can I do, what could I be good at, and you know, I've known about like LLMs inside Google, and I know they were powerful, but I like many of us like GPT moment caught me by surprise, like ChatGPT moment caught me by surprise. I said, well, like this is a perfect thing for me because I feel mm, it's so weird. Like the type of changes were very radical, which is great for innovation, right? You don't want to jump, or depending on how you approach it, but like personally, I don't want to jump into a market that is so mature that any moment, anything you do can be big money, but it's really hard to make success in that market. When the markets are so new, people do random things. Like today, like there's people doing agents for whatever X things they're doing, and they're like it takes them like up to like 11 to 12 months to get to $1 million in revenue. So that is weird. That is not very common, right? So yeah, I basically in the last 2 years I was preparing for that leap and what kind of things could I do, and I ended up taking the leap. And then for the last 10 months, I've been exploring. And I started with one specific product that I can talk about afterwards, but like quickly failed and moved to something else. And I've been in that process for the last 10 months. Sorry, I was like a long answer, but I tried to summarize the 12 years.
No, no, no. It really, I mean, your journey of like this 12 years, it is amazing. And you said that you're growing and you grew a lot because of the Google. And my question is, what surprised you the most about yourself after making the switch from Google to startup?
Mm, I think that it's mostly the most surprising thing so far has been that it is an experience that kind of makes you learn so much. Like every day you learn something about yourself. I think like in big tech companies, because they are big, there's a lot of structure.
Yes.
So it's not boring necessarily, but I think it is very well defined, and there are some expectations you need to meet. So you know more or less, especially after such a long time, you know more or less what are you supposed to do, how, and like you're good at it, and so on. But when you jump into entrepreneurship in these last 10 months, as I just starting the journey, I feel like it's not about what you know. Yeah, obviously, like I have my background in product and business, and I know those things, and I can go and do it. But like, it's a lot about your personality, what you believe, your core beliefs and passions, and like, like these ups and downs of receiving bad news and then dealing with it and not like completely crashing and these kind of things, like more mental part. It's really tough. So I think being able to handle it without like completely shattering down has been surprising. But I think, to be fair, also I also learned that the 12 years that I spent at Google helped me build a lot of the confidence and the mindset for it. I don't think I would have been able to do it just coming out of college because of the way I grew up and the way Colombia's education system works and all of that. I don't think it's actually fair. Now, when I looked at the entrepreneurs from Latin America and from Colombia, I was like, I feel for them because personally, I think they're just in an uphill battle that is very, very complicated, right? So yeah, I think like, at least for my specific journey, being in Silicon Valley for so long, meeting all these people from top colleges, my college, like nobody knows my college, like it's super unknown. Like all of that gave me this like mentality and mindset to deal with the hardest part of entrepreneurship, which is not the business alone, it's your personal dealings, I think. So I think that's the most surprising so far.
Yeah, it is true. It is true. Like people, even I worked in big tech for like a few years when I was in my home country, and being a part of Bay Area, I have seen people like so enthusiastic about the tech world, and they are like they're always like try to do something. I want to do this, I want to do that. So even I met one man who was like he was working at Apple for like 25 years, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna leave Apple now, I'm gonna start my business. And I was like, okay, wow. At the age of 60, I mean, in my home country, we work hard for like for whole life, and then we start think of retirement. Here people think of new business, they are more into entrepreneurship. It's really amazing. And I'm also a tech person. I'm into hacking, and I've seen you are one of the posts that you won the first place. You guys won the first place at a hackathon in Palo Alto for like maybe Llama Index hackathon. What
Yeah.
was it? I mean, did you build something which was related to AI or machine learning stuff?
Yeah. So all of the things that I've been exploring are related somehow to Gen AI. I think when I was at Google, the last products that I did were related to machine learning and like basic, basic machine learning. Not the cool one, I guess. It's a way to say it, but since I quit, I was focusing on like how can we use these models in a way that was not possible before, but it's possible now. So an example of that, just to put it in concrete words, is back then, like almost like a year ago, I saw this very cool concept from an artist in Italy where he cloned two philosophers and made them talk to each other all the time. It's called the infinite conversation or something like that.
Okay.
And I thought, well, that's exactly the kind of products I want to test. Because I don't know if anything's going to happen, but that is definitely not possible before and possible now, right? So that was the first project I started to do. I sold it to news outlets because, they're kind of dying, their industry. So what I was pitching to them was like, hey, like you need to come up with this new UI. So otherwise, well, ChatGPT is probably not going to send you much traffic because people are going to get the answer directly, right? And that's the bread and butter from them. So I sold them this thing that allows them to have like three points of view of the same article in order to mitigate like misinformation a little bit, right? So yeah, so that was the kind of initial point. By the time we went to the hackathon, we were in a completely different thing. That was like 6 months or 8 months after that, and we